Do you really crap yourself when you die? Edit. Okay, I know now, stop sending me all of these sad-ass stories. What is a really morbid question you have always wanted to ask? Welcome back to another story time from Alien Radio. My name is Andrew, and I'll be your narrator for today. Since you're already here, why not hit subscribe and the like button? It really helps with the algorithm. If you don't, I'll tell your crush about your small dick. Also, quick warning, this story time is going to be disturbing for some viewers. Are there less disabled people in Germany due to the final solution? After a little googling, 11.7% of the German population is disabled, while the global average is 19.4%. Very interesting, but no way to verify if it is due to the final solution. Why aren't we overrun by cemeteries? Old ones get forgotten. I've been to so many cemeteries where over half the grave markers are almost buried. What does it feel like to intentionally stab someone? Or kill anyone in general? There's an awful video of two teenagers talking about the girl they just stabbed, and it's really hard to watch. Guy's basically laughing as he says, "Holy crap. I witnessed her lifeless body just fall to the ground." How long would you live if you were decapitated, and would you feel the injury or simply be in shock? Think about it this way. It's possible that you would feel really lightheaded, dizzy or even nauseous just from standing up too quickly after lying down, since the blood pressure in your brain is lower right after standing up and your heart hasn't yet started to regulate. Now imagine how low your blood pressure is when your head is completely separated from your body, pretty damn low. You have no heart to regulate the blood flow, and your blood is seeping out, so you instantly faint. You might not be dead for half a second or so, but you won't get to contemplate your life decisions, that's for damn sure. Do stepdaughters and stepbrothers have sexual fantasies about someone in the family that isn't blood? Edit. I don't only mean between siblings. I mean fantasies or relationships with their stepfathers or stepmothers as well. I've had a stepsister for 14 years now. More often than not I get the question, dude, would you duck your sister? When I reply no, it's but dude, she's not blood. Still no, we've formed a brother-sister bond. Would you duck your real sister? Edit. Holy crap. I compare stepsister and real sister because I've accepted her as my real sister. We've been pretty much best friends since our parents got married, and that was when I was 8 years old. Do burn victims get a cremation discount? I've been funeral directing for quite some time now. I'll say this, I've never seen a family of a burn victim choose cremation. The thought of most people burning to death, suffering, and then going through it again just horrifies families. And to answer your question, the crematory will still charge because the process will still be necessary. Cremation is a few hours at 2000 degrees Fahrenheit in order to break down the entire body. And even burn victims usually still have recoverable skeletal remains when they first come into our care. On the positive side, if it was an accidental death, or if someone died in an arson, there's victims' compensation, insurance bonuses and financial aid to help families. Even Medicaid will help with funeral expenses of the deceased who was receiving governmental assistance. What is the cheapest way I can have my body taken care of when I die? Like, I'll be dead. I don't give a crap. If my family could take me out in a boat and just chuck me in the ocean for free, that would be great. You can donate it to science, it's free and a good cause. Although they are actually very picky about the bodies they choose. It is expensive for the institution to pay costs, and they don't want to waste money on cadavers that don't give enough return. Source. My father donated his body, thinking to cut funeral costs, but he died of cancer, and they deemed it too emaciated damage to accept. Edit. So many people have chimed in to say that that isn't the case where they are. That makes me feel bad because he really wanted it to happen, and he chose the university that he did his PhD at, thinking he was contributing something of value. The funeral company that took away his body did warn us that they might not want it because of his emaciation, so it was obviously a situation they had run up against previously. What does a miscarriage feel like? Depends on how far into the pregnancy you are. If it's very early, first trimester, it's like deep aching cramps. Sometimes accompanied by nausea, vomiting or diarrhea. The bleeding starts off slow and gradually gets heavier and heavier, often with clots or clumps. The pain comes in waves of intensity, but you'll also feel a sort of background ache that can be very deep and intense. If you don't have a uterus to compare, it's rather like a very deep muscle injury that's then suffering a Charlie horse. If you're later in the pregnancy, second trimester, it's virtually the same as a typical term labor, except generally not as long or quite as intense. Your cervix will still have to dilate, so you'll go into labor as you normally would and feel all the same pains, cramps and shock feelings of your cervix softening and thinning out. It just doesn't have to dilate all the way. Depending on where you are in the pregnancy and the position of the baby, you may not feel a complete urge to push, and instead you'll just feel a rather strange pressure, and the fetus may actually just sort of expel. You'll still feel the sting of having your vulva stretch briefly, though, but it won't be like the ring of fire pain of a full-term baby crowning. Emotionally varies depending on the situation, of course, but you still have to keep in mind that even during the event of an unwanted pregnancy or unknown pregnancy, you're still dealing with massive amounts of hormones that are suddenly dropped. That has a significant impact on someone's emotional well-being, regardless of their feelings for the lost baby fetus. If you're later in the pregnancy, you may also experience some breast swelling, tenderness and milk production following the miscarriage, but it generally goes away without too much issue. Are fathers of attractive daughters usually also attracted to those daughters? As the father of a very attractive, well-built, sexually liberated 19-year-old daughter, no. Not in the least. Edit. Several people have commented on my use of sexually liberated, so I thought I would address it here. I'm fairly sex positive, as I think my post history shows. I have tried to raise my daughter to be comfortable with herself and, as she grew older, her sexuality. She's a very confident, comfortable young woman who can have frank and honest conversations about sex. She is able to be intimate when she wants to and can say no when she doesn't. Anyway, she seems to be a lot healthier than I was at her age, and I'm very proud of this. And no, I'm still not going to post pictures of my daughter. EDT2. On the other side of things, I have at least 3 female friends who have told me that their dads turned creepy when they started to develop. One dad would try to catch his daughter coming out of the shower every chance he could. Another would make inappropriate sexual jokes and make her uncomfortable. In all cases, it ducked with their heads and damaged their relationship with their fathers. When a coffin is buried in a cemetery plot, the law, at least in my state, requires that it be placed within a sealed vault down in the grave. How long does the vault lid's seal last before water and the elements eventually begin penetrating the coffin? And why does this require extra expense if it's all going to decay, in time, anyway? I'm a mortician in Germany, and here we rent out plots, since space is tight. Usually between 10 to 25 years is mandatory, but usually graveyard management offers open end. After the minimum time has passed, the lot is getting cleared and will be rented again by another family. That is because our deceased usually don't get embalmed, with a quick decomposition which won't harm nature in mind. Our caskets have to be wood by law and can easily withstand Earth's pressure for months or years, if higher quality thicker wood. It's not unusual to find bones or semi-intact bodies. Usually they get boxed in a small remains crate and get reburied a bit deeper before the new occupant gets buried. There are a couple of different setups for graves, but the most common ones are single row, 2 coffins possible on top of each other, or family, 2x2 on top of each other, each deceased starting the 10 to 25-year timer anew. Edit. I'm sorry if my wording causes confusion. Clarification. We do not dig up the bodies after the plot is being released. The whole idea is to have a self-clearing grave. The body decomposes in a certain time. This is estimated or tested by sending soil to the lab. If the soil is ideal, it will take roughly 10 years for a body to decompose, only leaving bone fragments behind. Those get reburied in case the grave is open to place another body in this plot. Keep in mind that one-sided graves fit 2 bodies. The first body usually gets buried at approximately 2 meters 40 centimeters, and the second coffin at about 1 meter 80 centimeters on top of the first. You can easily place 2 bodies in a single-sided grave. 4 people in a 2-sided family grave. Each body is on individual timers, so if you have person A dead, and the person beat placed on top 2 years later. The earliest you can access a cleared spot is when the 10 years of person B have passed, resulting in 12 years since person A has been placed. In this exact spot you can now place a coffin. And of course right on top, since that spot is now clear as well. The only reasons we would remove a body from the grave is if there were investigations or the grave would have to be moved because of closing relocation of the cemetery, super rare, or if the soil is unable to decompose the body. Then the plot is often closed for further burials, or the body is removed and cremated, then placed in this or another grave. Depends on the circumstances. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.